And spawning in the top right hand corner of the Crimson Court, we have the Canadian Zerg player, the Red Zerg representing himself, representing Shang. It is HuShang. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have the Brazilian Terran player, the Yellow Terran representing the Platinum Heroes. It is INexorable. Let's go. We have our ZVT and HuShang. He was able to warm up in that previous series, but now up against one of the bigger names in the bracket. And we'll see how he compares. Again, HuShang is a player that I actually have never casted before. Today's the first day. I'm familiar with HuShang. Back in the day, many years ago, he used to make YouTube videos and tutorials. When it came to builds, when it came to certain matchups as well, was a more active content creator. Then he took a break. Took a bit of a step back, and recently has returned once again. So always excited to see HuShang, and always excited to see. I mean, I'm now excited to cast him for the first time. I'm curious how he compares to INexorable. Again, a rising star, an up and comer. INexorable is a bit of a younger player. He has been improving a lot over the past couple of years, breaking into the GM scene, and of course getting a lot of personal training and practice with players like Vindicta, with players like Future, with the other NA Terran boys. Has been looking better and better as the weeks go by. I would currently say, would he be top 2 Terran in Brazil? Would I rate INexorable over Yan? I have a hard time. I have a hard time placing that. I need to see more of Yan. I need to see more of Yan and more of INexorable. At least top 3. Top 3 Terran in Brazil. Alongside Yan and alongside Kalazar, of course. The SCV Scout gets across the map, just confirming the hatch gas pool standard opener from our Zerg player. Nothing too crazy. You see HuShang mining through those mineral patches, looking to expand and take the linear third. That is one of the big features of Crimson Court, of course, is how defendable and how secure and how isolated this third base is. And it goes both ways. Oh, the drone! Oh no! One worker goes down! A bit of a slip up here from HuShang. That should not have happened. One worker already going to be falling. A strong start for INexorable. And again, the dance continues here. Getting one drone, going for the Lings. Potentially another drone as well. So far, the Reaper being zoned away. Queen has arrived. Oh no! We overextend! Yeah, big overextension, and just like that, suddenly it's an okay trade here. HuShang, he may have lost the drone, but he does shut down an SCV, the scouting SCV, and the Reaper as well. So big overextension from INexorable, and behind this, it was a fake out. He was mining the patches here to make it look like he was expanding, when really, he's doing anything but. That is a Roach Warren. HuShang going for a Roach Rush, again, just faking out a third base. And INexorable is now in a bit of trouble behind this. He's setting up for a 3CC2 on 1. Oh, 3CC2 on 1. A very economic build here from INexorable. It doesn't really get going until the mid game. Because of that, the Master Roach is going to snowball out of control. There's nothing to defend. There's going to be Hellions and Marines. There's no Cyclones. There's no Banshee. There's nothing else behind this. INexorable is in trouble. The Roaches are amassing. HuShang now still mining towards that location. Roaches are pushing, and thankfully INexorable will scout this in the middle of the map. He will confirm. He does get eyes on the Roaches, but it may not matter. Oof. The first Hellion does fall back at her. What do we have to defend? We need bunkers. Bunkers are on the way to the low ground. I don't know if we can actually defend the low ground, but at the same time, there's no room for a bunker on the high ground either. Double bunker on the way. Hellions are racing back. HuShang behind this is droning. I do think that he could be flooding Lings behind this instead to just commit to the all-in. Regardless, damage is going to be done. The bunkers are revealed. HuShang, he will zone this away. He has control of the low ground. Pushing up the ramp. There's one Cyclone in production. Oh, the main base SimCity is a little bit messy. The depot is going to go down. Boys are being pulled, but the Cyclone's going to be exposed. Cyclone does pop out. The Marines fall, SCVs. And if that Cyclone falls, I mean, that's all that we have left. He wants it. He wants the Cyclone. He gets it. One more volley. GG gets called, and HuShang will take game number 1. GG. A very cheeky build here from the Zerg player. Again, HuShang, he was faking out a third base. He had sniped the Reaper. More importantly, because the Reaper went down, no scout. There was no follow-up scout available for the Terran player. With the Reaper falling, there's no way to check the main base. And it wasn't just that, but also, unfortunately for INexorable, he was going for a bit of a greedy follow-up, going for 3 CC 2-on-1. That means delayed factory production, that means delayed Banshee production as well. He had the bare minimum to defend, and alas, it just was not enough. Was not enough. He threw down bunkers on the low ground as well, which is too little too late. Defending the low ground just was not going to be possible in that kind of scenario. And now INexorable is up against the wall. INexorable is up against the wall. And we'll see if he can bounce back. We'll see if he can bounce back here in game number 2. The pressure is on. Ah. Oh no. HuShang, he's challenging the caster. He's challenging Rocklets. Oh, no. Keep Rocklets safe. As we get into the second game, we're going to be loading into a much more standard map this time. We're going to be loading into Alkion. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the Canadian Zerg player, the Red Zerg representing Clan Shang. It is HuShang. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the Brazilian Terran player, the Yellow Terran representing the Platinum Heroes. It is INexorable. Go. So INexorable called out. I'm sure here in game 2 he's going to be a lot more attentive, or a lot more, attentive to his Reaper, a lot more attentive to scouting, to make sure he does not get caught off guard, to make sure he doesn't get cheesed out. we gotta hold on to the Reaper, Pat. We gotta save it. Let's look after our boys. We'll see if that's going to be the case. Likewise, what I should also emphasize as well, even if the Reaper does go down, it is a little bit harder to scout, or I should say harder to hide an all-in here on Alkion, just because it's easier to scout the third. Easier to confirm whether or not there is macro going on, as opposed to Crimson Court, where the third base can be hidden because of that mineral wall. So again, that kind of all-in, that kind of build, it hits that much harder on Crimson Court because of that feature. As the SCV Scout is moving out, INexorable going for a Rax Expand, standard opener from the Terran. Likewise, HuShang going Hatch Gas Pool. Hatch Gas Pool opener. Nothing too crazy, nothing too wild. SCV Scout will get eyes on the would-be third base drone. And the workers do fight each other, actually. SCV getting quite low. We'll have to get out of here. This time the SCV will survive. Thankfully, it does live. HuShang will go for the third, and it looks like HuShang should be able to expand. Yeah, the Reaper moves out. The drone is kept safe. HuShang mining through the mineral wall. Going for the gold? Okay, he's coming back. Does come back. Reaper advancing with the Lings. Will rotate around, and will confirm there is a third base this time. So it looks like a more standard build here by HuShang, and INexorable at least confirms that. At least confirms that there is a third, which should mean that there is not a Roach Warren. So already a better start here for INexorable. Has the information he needs, and back at home, INexorable is going 3cc 2-1-1. Okay. This is the same build that INexorable was attempting to go for in the last game and was denied it. Meanwhile, that is another fast Roach Warren here by HuShang, but this time it's a part of the wall, and this time INexorable, he sees everything.
You built a fancier command center.
He does see, does confirm. INexorable is aware. And this means that we should be seeing earlier bunkers. Earlier bunkers, earlier SimCity, earlier setup here defensively at the natural base. Now again, this Roach one, it's not as early as it was last game, but there could still be a bit of a 9 Roach move out. See if INexorable can keep up. Now just gaining map control. Lair is on the way. And the Hellions will go for the dive. They go for the main. Oh, even the natural mineral line. 2 drones go down, but only 2 workers. Not the best dive here from INexorable. But he does confirm saturation. That might just be what he was hoping for. To just confirm that HuShang is droning. And he is. He's droning up, getting a lair. Working towards Roach speed, I imagine. Oh, and it looks like we do have some mouse issues. All good. Thankfully, these issues are happening after the fight, after the harass. There's no big engagement going on. So we can take a moment here to breathe, to fix our peripherals. Oh, oh no, the doggo. Not like this.
Game resumed.
The doggo, clearly a Terran player. True, true. A Stormgate enjoyer. Working for INexorable. Thankfully has been fixed for now. Behind this INexorable, just setting up with 2 bases. Throwing down a 3rd Rax, going for a 3-1-1. 3rd CC is about to be landed, or about to be lifted and landed on location as well. And there's that safety bunker that we spoke of. The bunker this time is done on the low ground. Plenty of Marines to work with. Scan reveals, ooh, lack of saturation at the 3rd. Okay, there we go. Reveals that we are in fact droning up and saturating the 3rd base. And INexorable's moving out with his double drop. As he moves out, he should be expanding. HuShang was able to get a full scout of the main, is fully aware of the build of choice. Back at home, setting up his queens, setting up his roaches. So by HuShang, he is keeping up. Doesn't want to overextend. Gets a marine, gets 2. Respreads that creep. And HuShang's just being more defensive, taking a 4th base. Interesting that he expanded towards the left-hand side. This expansion is going to be a little bit more exposed. See if INexorable can get on top of it. Is deflected, is denied. 3rd base now being landed, 1-1 on the way. We're headed towards a bit of a longer game stage. Now, when it comes to this setup here, at Alcyone, this map is known for its 8 Raxes, known for its 3 base all-ins from the side of Terran. We're not there yet. We're still only on 5 Raxes, but we can build up and throw down 3 more. If we do not take extra gases at the 3rd, if we do not throw down a 4 CC, then this could just be an all-in from INexorable. Before that does occur, HuShang being active, is still droning up behind. This is not committed. He's just poking up the ramp, gets eyes on the 3rd base, gets an SCV, but shouldn't commit. Oh, gets 2 Deepers as well, not bad. Oh! Does have to pull back. No Ravagers. Has to respect the tank. HuShang will pull away. Ravagers out in production. Link's running behind this. Link's speed just now beginning. Without Link speed, these reinforcements are going to take a little bit longer to get across the map. HuShang is on a 3-base economy, and he wants those tanks. Can he get them? So far, INexorable keeping up. Tempted to stim. Tanks are repositioning. Ravager is going to go down. Nice pickoff. Gets 1. Gets 2. 2 Ravagers go down. The Slowlings have arrived. And they will zone back the army. HuShang behind this, still not droning, still not saturating his 4th. HuShang is still committed on Ling Roach Ravager. Still committed. As time goes on, there's a higher and higher tank count. It's going to be that much more difficult to break. No bunkers. Still just bio tank. But nice spread. And HuShang, he pulls trigger. HuShang is maxed out. He is maxed. Nice kiting here from INexorable. One tank goes down, but the others, they do so much damage to the back line. Yeah, the left-hand flank crumbles, and INexorable, he shuts this down. He completely shuts this down. Pushing into a pre-spread army with 4 tanks. Not like this. INexorable is now snowballing out of control. The supplies, they look similar, but the suit does lie. Roach Ravager is inflated army supply that just does not scale well. HuShang gets punished, and HuShang is still not droning. HuShang is still all in. And the skin reveals it. INexorable, he sees lack of saturation, and this tells INexorable he doesn't have to move out. He can just chill. Calm down for a moment. Then we go 4th CC now on the way. And HuShang, he has to retreat, and he now drones. He made 11 workers. Droning is one thing, but tech is another. There it is. We have the infestation, but we have the Hydra Den on the way. HuShang's next step should be to head towards Hydra Lurker Viper, but it is so far away. To get to Hive Tech, into Hydra's Lurkers, Lurker upgrades, Viper Tech as well. Skin reveals that HuShang has now droned. Now's the time to move out. INexorable is pushing. HuShang is going to be in a lot of trouble. A way to kind of supplement and a way to support this army in this kind of game state would be Infestors. If the Infestation Whip was done, we could make some safety Infestors. 1, 2, 3 fungal growths could slow this army down and buy time, but for now it's just Roach Ravager. Files, they do not connect. Well, one of them does. But the tanks they don't even need to siege. Now we just stimps on in. Decent piles on the Metamax. Decent files. INexorable does take them to the face, but the tanks, they now siege up. Oof, 1 tank goes down. HuShang is up against the wall. INexorable still rallying across the map. Liberators have arrived. He has freedom. The freedom is here. Oof, while they take down the Metamac and one of the Liberators, but not the other. And INexorable, he just has too much. He's snowballing out of control. He's breaking through the front lines, breaking through the main army. Gets on top of the expansion, and HuShang just doesn't really have much left. Just a handful of roaches, 1 Ravager. GG gets called, and INexorable ties up the series at 1-1. GG. INexorable finally able to get into his own game state, able to survive the early game, get into the mid game. And again, HuShang went for a very dedicated play. If you remember, he was on a 3-base economy with 66 drones, and he maxed out on Ling Roach Ravager. Unfortunately, he was pushing into a very well set up INexorable. I was concerned by the lack of bunkers, but he had a nice spread of tanks, a nice spread of marines, a nice spread of bio. He had the high ground as well. Like, INexorable was in a beautiful position, and he was ready to receive. Ready to receive that army. HuShang just could not break that. And with that, we're now going into the ace match. And the question becomes, do we see something different here? Do we see more of a back and forth? Do we see some macro out of both players, not just one? We've seen a lot of all-ins here out of HuShang, both in game 1 and in game 2. But we'll see what happens here in game number 3. Let's go. "19 roaches still in production." There were still roaches in production. I think I want to say that the fight happened. Did it happen before Link Speed, or maybe Link Speed kicked in just in time as well? But even with all those roaches, I'm not so certain that HuShang could have broken that position. Regardless, GG. GG, well played. We're now getting into the ace match, getting to game number 3. Here we go. Spawning in the top right-hand corner of Post Youth, we have our Canadian Zerg player, the Red Zerg. Being forced into the ace match, can he bring it back? It is HuShang. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the Brazilian Terran player, the yellow Terran representing the Platinum Heroes. It is INexorable. And we are loading into a map that is often vetoed in best of threes. So I'm a little bit surprised that we have found ourselves here. The reason for this is because it is a very wide open map, so it can sometimes be difficult for a Terran player to move out, especially in the mid game. In a longer game state, different story. But it can be difficult to be active. Likewise, there are goal bases as well that players can take advantage of, both hybrid bases in the main and also the goal bases just outside. I'm curious how INexorable will approach this. Likewise, we've seen nothing but roach play out of HuShang. Will that continue as well, or do we get to see for the first time some Ling Bane? What is it going to be? But now, hatch, gas, pull. Standard opener here from our Zerg so far. Likewise, INexorable going CC first. Now, this is something you can pull off on this map. This is a very greedy build from the Terran player, going CC first into a 2-1-1. Very greedy, gasless essentially. That's how you can afford all this. No gases have been taken for now, just now being taken after all the production and the command center. But again, you can be greedy because of how safe your natural is. Your natural is in your main, so there's only one ramp, one small choke point leading into two bases, so you can cut corners. This is another, of course, big feature of Pursuit. So INexorable able to cut some corners. INexorable also no SCV Scout. No SCV Scout, no Reaper Scout either. INexorable being as greedy as possible. Has no idea what's going on, doesn't care what's going on. Meanwhile, the Overlord Scout from HuShang will get eyes on both Raxes, is now aware of the 2-1-1. And again, I'm curious if he goes for the Roach defense. Like, he's been playing Roaches all series. Does that continue? As the Overlord is going to be hunted down, will supply block HuShang, so a strong moment already here for INexorable. He does fully wall off, things are moving out, but the wall is up and running. The wall, we have the Marines. Behind this, INexorable going for the factory, into a starport, into an add-on sold with a reactor, and a double medevac drop. So again, 2-1-1 here from the Terran. And because this time we are investing into Link Speed, I imagine this time it is going to be Ling Bane. I'm saying this because in the previous games, Link Speed was delayed quite heavily in favor of an earlier Roach Warren and Roach production. I say that HuShang did pull back into gas earlier. I'm curious if you can afford to do that just because of the hybrid base, so the gold minerals are coming into play. As natural now soon to be taken. Scan reveals lack of gases. An interesting scan from INexorable. Was hoping to maybe find a Roach Warren or a lair. Didn't find anything. Back at home, still building up. There's Yadon Sop into medevacs, and HuShang is in fact going for the faster lair. So this now makes sense. This is why HuShang pulled back into gas as quickly as he did, and now we're going for a very fast second, third, and fourth gas. This looks like Muta play. This is crazy. HuShang, he scouted the 2-1-1, and we have seen 2-1-1s just completely shut down 2-base Muta, which I'm assuming is what's happening. We do have a Baneling Nest on the way, but no Evo Chambers. Maybe it's a rush into Hydras, but if it is a Spire, I am concerned here for the Zerg. As here comes the Mass Marine. And, oh, HuShang is still droning. I think this is a bit of a misread. I think HuShang, he's not fully aware of what is coming his way. Again, he saw both Raxes, he saw everything he needed to. The 2-1-1 does signify a 16 Marine double medevac move out like this. It is the Spire! Oh, okay. Okay. It is going to be the Spire. The army sims on in. The Queens are exposed, and the game may just end here and now. As INexorable, he gets into the mineral line. Lings are going down. Drones are going down. Queens are going. Everything's going down, Pappy. And INexorable cannot be stopped. He cannot be stopped. The Queens do fall. And that's everything. GG gets called. INexorable take the series 2-1 and advance on into the next round. GG. My Zerg heart bleeds a little bit. I've seen this game state before. I'm always reminded of Miyamaika versus Seether. It was Miyamaika versus Seether. Ooh, what was it, like 2-3 years ago at this point? It was on, oh god, it was on a short rush distance by air. It wasn't Moondance. Not Moondance. But there was a small map in recent years. I'm talking like maybe 3 years ago, short rush distance by air, and a similar game state where Miyamaika went for, blindly though. The difference is that Miyamaika blindly went for 2 base meter, and Seether opened up 2-1-1, and Seether just won the game with a double Medak drop. The difference here is that HuShang did scout, so I have to put a little bit more onus on HuShang here because he did scout both Raxes. He did, for the most part, confirm the 2-1-1, so it was very greedy of him to open up the way that he did, to delay the Evo chambers, to rush into a Spire, to take those gases, to be on minimal queens and minimal lings. It was it did feel like a bit of a misread. Yeah. Speaking of, HuShang is confirming in the chat, in-game chat, that he did misread. So yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. That HuShang did unfortunately assume it was something different going on and was punished. GG. Congratulations, INexorable will take the series and will advance on into the next round. Let's go.